last week of the regular season.
Baseball. Yeah. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. And, we didn't even talk about the 50-50 yet. So if we get there, we can get there. You know. That's actually not a bad transition because we could start with baseball and then talk about the 50-50, and then I got something else to talk about with the 50-50. So we could just start episode 419 if we were gamers on a breathless note and say, "Hey, hello, welcome. How are you? It's JJ, Michael, and Andy."
Sure is.
How's it going?
Is that how should we start podcasts like that? My thing looks
we've already
like it's
started.
Delayed again.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Craig will fix it in post.
Craig's already working on it, I think. Unless you feel like me talking is super delayed.
No, I don't think so. I mean, not yet anyway.
Yeah, it seems
okay then. Well, it's the end of baseball season. The White Sox and the Angels are duking it out for worst in the league. And not worse. I guess technically not worst in the league, but historically bad seasons, I guess.
They are trying to help each other set records that you don't want to set.
I mean, to be clear, the White Sox are the worst in the league, and it's not close. But I'm sure the Angels are sinking to new lows.
63 and 94. So the funny part about it is the Angels can also set a record, which would be most losses for the franchise ever.
Okay, so a franchise record as opposed to the White Sox, who are trying to set MLB records.
Well, how many more games do we have? We got, 2 or 3 more games?
I think the Angels have 5.
5, but only 2 against the White Sox, I think.
2 more against the White Sox, and then I don't remember who they finish with, but I think they need to win. The record is 96.
122?
The record is 121. If they win, 121. If they lose one more game, they have sole possession of the record.
Yeah, so they've
already tied. If they lose one
tied.
more game, they become the sole possessors of the worst record.
Okay, and the Angels need to win 6 games or 3 games. Okay,
they need to win 3 games. Yeah. Their loss record is 96.
96. Okay, so they need to win 3 games so they can't get past 96.
Right. If they win 3 games, their worst case is tying the record.
What a world. What's Bartolo Colon doing? Can we bring him out of retirement and have him throw some pitches just to make sure the Angels lose?
Wait, you want the Angels to lose?
I mean, it would be...
Are you voting for the White Sox to win out so that they stay tied?
No. I mean, both things can actually happen, right? Both.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm just saying. They just kind of deserve it. I'm an Angels fan. I will continue being an Angels fan after this, but they kind of deserve it. They blew it. They had Trout and Ohtani on the roster, and now they have literally the worst season in 30 years or something like that. It's just kind of crazy to me. Meanwhile, Michael, your adoptive team, since moving to LA,
my team-in-law,
your team-in-law, yeah, yeah, absolutely. Has the 52-52? Is that where he's at now?
He is at 53-55.
Oh, okay.
So he needs 2 more home runs. Will put him in the 50. It will create the 55-55 club. Let's say.
Every club's a club that he's creating at this point, huh?
Yep.
Right. Every time he gets another stolen base or another home run, it's all just adding to the monument.
I don't know what they got in the water up there, but it certainly seems that he's out of his injury slump.
Yeah. Well, the Padres are beating him right now, so there's that.
Well, the Angels lost, so we're all kind of losing out. I don't know. What are you hoping for in the final weeks here? I mean, are the Padres and Dodgers about to duke it out in the postseason also?
If the Padres sweep the Dodgers this season, we can win the division.
Yeah, I think if the Padres sweep this series, they'll be tied, and then it just comes to who has the better stretch of the closing 3 games.
And the Padres own the tiebreak against the Dodgers already.
Right.
So, yeah.
So
now, to be clear,
you're eagerly refreshing your tabs, huh?
the chance that we beat the Dodgers 3 straight is not high. But, it would be sweet if it did. If nothing else, Michael and I are both refreshing the wild card standings to see who's losing between the Mets and the Diamondbacks and the Braves.
It is literally in front of me right now.
What are their win records at?
So the wild card standings are the Padres on top. They have a 3.5 game cushion over the line, and then the Mets.
Oh, they're pretty set then.
Yeah, but we still have to play the Dodgers 3 times in a row, and then the Diamondbacks, who are behind us 3 times in a row to close the season.
Right, so it's super interesting because it's the Padres, and then the Mets and the Diamondbacks are tied right now with an identical record, although the Diamondbacks are about to lose. And then Atlanta is 1 game behind the 2 of them, and Atlanta has a series against the Mets going on right now.
The National League should have instituted the designated hitter years ago. This would have been much more fun.
I mean, yes.
Look at what you get now. This is good baseball.
It's definitely exciting if you're a fan of one of those 4 teams, 5 teams with the Dodgers.
And I think the AL wildcard is even wackier. There's like several teams all vying, right, that are still in it.
So Baltimore at this point has clinched. They've got 1 wildcard spot, and then they're right behind them is Kansas City and Detroit, and then Minnesota is 2 games back. Seattle's 2.5. The Red Sox are 3.5. So yeah, a lot of teams that still with a shot.
Well, we know people pulling for the Royals too, so that's at least a little interesting. Don't worry, the Angels are only 20 games back.
There's an outside chance that the Seattle Mariners get into the wild card.
Sure is.
Sure.
Baseball's weird.
Nothing wrong with the Mariners. They're all right.
I'm just saying, at the start of the season, you're like, the Mariners are going to the playoffs. People would have been like, I don't know, bud.
I mean, my new barometer for a good season has dropped from 500 to 400.
The Angels are a whisker above that right now.
I know. That was the joke. There's very few whiskers left beyond 0.01.
So we talked briefly about Ohtani making his own club. Did you guys hear about the guy who caught the 50th home run ball?
They decided they weren't going to authenticate it.
No. So the Dodgers are trying to get the ball back, and I was curious: would you take the offer that they made the guy of $300K?
No.
The Dodgers offer me. Sorry.
You should choke on that offer.
I took a sip of the water, right? So the Dodgers organization offers me $300K, and just that's it.
Yeah.
Not like
remember
tickets,
the
like,
first Ohtani drama with this, which was the first home run as a Dodger, and they were like, "Yo, you want a signed bat for that ball or something like that?"
Yeah, that one was straight up insulting.
Now,
$300K.
I think this is a bit more historic than his first home run as a Dodger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, $300K, I would at least think about $300K, but then I would probably go to a memorabilia auction site and be like, how about $1 million? And they'd be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, we could probably get that for you.
I mean, Ohtani himself might turn around and be like, yeah, $1 million. Give me my ball back.
I mean, look, if Ohtani comes to me and is like, I will give you $300K and season
ticket,
out
for sushi,
and we'll go out for sushi, then I'm saying yes, right? Like,
absolutely,
yeah, sure.
Sure. But I can understand he doesn't want to do that. Like, okay, but yeah,
Wow.
Not everyone.
Well, at least they verified the ball instead of holding off verification to see if he would sell it. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if the Dodgers organization offered it to me, I might pass. Hoping for a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I'm not in dire need of money, but that's hard to scoff at, I
That's
guess.
a chunk of change, yeah.
You got to remember, though, in terms of big things like this counts as a gift, so it's taxed at like 50%. So don't get like, hell yeah, I'm paying off my house kind of money. That's not what you're doing here. Not that you could pay off your house with that amount of money.
No, I can't.
No one could in California. But, you know, you could do a lot of things, is right. But, you know, it's actually half this amount. So you got to be, you know, and this is public enough that the IRS will know. So if you don't pay, they will be like, what's up with this? Hey.
Yeah.
The dreaded IRS letter. What's up with this?
That's exactly how they phrase it.
You know, those IRS auditors are probably baseball stat nerds, right? And so they're like, oh, where's the guy that got the 50? Hold on, let me mark his file for an audit.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, his name's in the page of paper. And it's not a unmemorable one once I see it in front of me, you know?
Yeah.
Anywho, yeah. All right, then. We were talking about 50-50s. There's something in the food world. We need to determine if it's a crime. And as far as 50-50s go, I would suggest that it's not a bad transition to say, how are those Oreos, Michael?
You know, they are surprisingly tasty. So Coke and Oreo teamed up for what they called a besties collaboration.
Notorious best friends, the Coca-Cola Corporation and Nabisco Foods.
Yeah.
Looks at the chart. Where are they both owned by the same people?
You keep going. I'll find out.
They got together and decided to release not one but two collaboration products. One of which is Coke Oreos, and the other of which is Oreo Coke. And I have tried both of these at this point. Is that a yes? They're owned by the same.
No, Coca-Cola, I know off the top of my head, is owned by itself because they're a public company.
Okay.
Well, I guess that doesn't technically preclude them being owned by somebody else. So I guess I should look that one up. But I didn't know that Oreos were owned by Philip Morris, which is kind of disappointing. I'm wrong.
Nabisco is owned by Mondelez, right? And Mondelez
Nabisco's owned by Kraft, which is maybe Mondelez also. I think Nabisco's owned by Kraft.
Nabisco is a subsidiary of the Illinois-based Mondelez International, unless
which used to be Kraft.
Got it. Okay. Oh yes, I see. They changed the name.
Yeah, and I think they are or were owned by whatever multi-billion-dollar companies. I was also wrong. Coke is traded and public, but it's owned by Berkshire Hathaway. So there you go. Oh, not all of it though. Only 10% of the company. This is
Coke,
fascinating, I'm sure.
Coke has a stock symbol, so they're out there, you know.
Yeah. Berkshire owns 10% of Coke, but Coke is its own company, and Mondelez owns Kraft, or was Kraft, and I think Kraft was owned by Philip. God, can we stop? I don't care anymore. Let's talk about the Oreos.
Yeah,
Oreos and Coke. So yeah, I've tried them both at this point, and I'll do the Oreos first because I like the Oreos better. And they are so the Oreos are it's it's the regular
Oreos first. All right, I got to
regular cream filling on the inside of the Oreos, and then they've taken one of the chocolate cookies and they've kicked it up with Coca-Cola syrup and Pop Rocks, like popping candy.
Okay. So in risk of becoming food influencers at the moment, one side of these is the chocolate cookie, one side is a red cookie, which I assume is the one that you're talking about, and then it's white in the middle. So it's like kind of cool standout colors, right?
Yeah, so it reflects the Coke red and black, but no, the cookie that has the syrup and the candies is actually the black one, the chocolate cookie.
Oh, okay.
The other
All right.
one is a standard golden Oreo that's been dyed red.
Standard golden Oreo. That makes sense, right?
Yep.
Red velvet style Oreo. Cool.
Yep.
Okay. And so does it taste like Coke or?
Yeah, between the syrup and the popping candy, it definitely gives you the sensation and the taste.
Wait, what popping candy?
There are Pop Rocks in there, Andy. Did you not hear him?
In the chocolate cookie.
No, I missed.
In the chocolate cookie? Hemming and hawing and not listening to him say Pop Rocks.
Well, I wasn't hemming and hawing. I was actually readjusting because I don't know if you can hear this while I have it in my hands here and I have to talk on the microphone. But I have a bag of these Oreos in front of me, actually.
I was going to say, I hear the crinkling.
Oh, okay. I can hear
so
it.
I'm going to... No, so I just was readjusting to move them in front of me. I'm going to open them and eat them right now after you've described them to me.
Okay, so you got your description. I think the only other thing is that they also got the smell right. Like when you open the package, it's going to smell like Coke.
It is waftingly gigantic amounts of Coke smell coming out of this bag now that it is open. Yes. I can smell this from 1.5 feet away from my face. That is just straight up Coke syrup smell. Yep. Yeah, Coke syrup smell.
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to eat the first one just whole. Because
do it.
Eat it like an Oreo. That's what it is,
right? Eat it like Well, I mean, there's a lot of different. You guys discuss while I eat this. Different ways.
That's its own debate. Do you?
Look, I don't do the separate and lick any of that crap.
No, you just bite into the Oreo, right?
You eat the Oreo like a cookie.
You and me, JJ. You and me.
High five.
End of discussion.
Yeah, but I know that's a debate. I just can't be there. Let me eat the thing. I just want to eat it. Don't need to have a conversation. It doesn't need to be weird. Just take a bite.
Do you eat your hot dog by taking the hot dog out of the bun and then eating the meat and then eating the bun afterwards? No.
Yeah, what? Who does this?
What in the world are you talking about? Okay, my mouth was full, but I'm offended by half of that.
We were having the discussion about how you eat Oreos, and Michael and I just immediately agreed.
I heard all of it, and then I was like, I have a mouthful of food, but I want to defend my position that I take apart my Oreo, and then you're talking about taking apart hot dogs like some sort of psychopath?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. It has nothing to do with a cookie.
What?
It's like saying
if I give you a chocolate chip cookie, are you picking the chocolate chips out?
Do you like ice cream?
Sure. I love ice cream.
Do you like cookies?
Sure.
Okay, so creating an ice cream sandwich out of a cookie instead of ice cream sandwich material is not psychopath behavior. So taking apart a cookie that is basically a shelf-stable ice cream sandwich is fine.
No, but that's not the question. The question is not if given the ingredients would I build myself an Oreo. The question is if someone hands you an ice cream sandwich, are you going to take it apart and eat the ice cream out of it?
The answer to your question is yes, because sometimes the ice cream sandwich made with cookies specifically is too thick, and so I take one side off.
I mean, at least he's consistently,
I guess,
in the wrong here. But he could be that way.
Stick to your gun.
So I was gonna say what I do is I take one side off the Oreo because I like the consistency
like to be
better.
The person who takes both sides off. How do you even do that?
Well, you definitely can. I mean, I've been there too. Okay, look, I've been a lot of low places with Oreos.
Okay, I've never been in these valleys.
Just need one more. But your strategy doesn't work with these, Andy, because the cookies are different.
Well, so my question here, no, hold on. So I had the first one here, and I could hear the Pop Rocks in my mouth, but I couldn't really feel the texture of them because the cookie was destroying the texture of them. It smells like Coke. Even while you're chewing on it, you can smell you gotta get the flavor of a Coke by smelling it more than tasting it.
Oh, totally. Almost. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Even while you're chewing on it, right? So I don't know what the effervescence of a Coke versus the tongue flavor of a Coke. But I was going to say, since you're telling me the red one is just a normal white flavored cookie, I could eliminate that and take it down to its base components of the Pop Rocks and the the new flavored cookie and see if that's any different. So, you know, I have the ability to take my cookies apart, unlike people who don't, you know, attempt cookie debauchery. I don't know. What am I saying? I'm going to try this. You talk amongst yourselves because I'm sure on another cookie.
Okay.
Well, while he's experimenting with the cookies, JJ, I'll shift gears a little bit and talk about the Coke.
Okay. Yeah.
So the Coke was, I think it's less apparent what the collaboration is. So you definitely get, as kind of a back end aftertaste, you get that kind of Oreo chocolatiness. But I think for me, what, I don't know if spoiled is the right word, but maybe spoiled the experience a little bit, is that they chose, instead of regular Coke, they chose to do the mashup with Coke Zero. And I am nothing against Coke Zero, but I am not.
Damn right. Nothing against Coke Zero.
Nothing against Coke Zero, but I am not a Coke Zero drinker. So to me, the overwhelming taste of the Coke Zero is the artificial sweetener that they use.
And it does taste.
I don't know about that.
Well,
Coke Zero and regular Coke taste different, though.
They do. They do taste very different.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if Michael is used to drinking regular and then switches to zero, he doesn't know which part is zero and which part is the collaboration, right?
I don't know that it's the sweetener, though. I think they both use aspartame. I don't.
No, regular Coke doesn't.
Oh, you're talking about full.
I'm talking about just full
float sugar Coke.
Yeah,
got it.
Yeah, he's not talking about diet. Diet Coke definitely does use aspartame. You're correct.
Yes, they do, and that is its own slightly different artificial taste.
1,000%.
Yeah. So to JJ's point, it's much harder for me than it would be for you, Andy, who is a Coke Zero drinker, to differentiate the sugar taste versus the Oreo notes.
Well, I've got updated information here, which is that Coke Zero uses stevia as well, which does have a distinct flavor.
Yes,
so
that's what it is.
I'll take all this crow and eat it. I guess I'll have to talk while I also do this sound so that you can also hear this sound going forward. You know, I don't know if that one came through on the microphone.
Was that a can tab by chance?
It might be 2 can tabs at the same time.
I heard that one. Yeah. So I actually was going to ask this question, Michael. Were you drinking out of a can or from a bottle?
That's a good question.
There is difference in that taste too.
Yes.
Yeah, I have learned something to follow up on after that.
I had it out of a can because they
so I think it only comes in cans.
Okay. I feel like I saw it in a bottle, but you might be right. But the cans come in the small cans, like the 8-ounce, which is kind of nice because if we hadn't liked it enough to drink more of it, then it's just an 8-ounce can.
So I've turned Coke Zero into a treat, and I've been drinking the 8-ounce cans anyway. It's not a thing I drink regularly anymore. I used to drink Coke Zero quite a bit in the last couple of years as I was trying to use it as an incentive for some weight loss. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I learned something the other day, and I want to test it out while also testing out this Oreo Coke here. And it mostly relates to beer, JJ.
Yeah.
And Michael.
Uh-huh.
Yo, you should make sure you never drink beer out of a can.
Okay.
It's a flavoring thing?
It is meant to decarbonate while you're pouring it in a glass. So if you're drinking it straight out of the can, it hasn't decarbonated as much as they're intending. Yes, exactly. And the same thing is true if you want your soda to taste like soda fountain soda. It is overcarbonated in case you pour it into a glass.
Got it. Okay, I see where you're coming from.
If you like the carbonation level higher, just keep it in the can. But if you want it to taste more soda fountain-y in terms of its, like the bubbles prickling your nose, but when you taste it, it's not that much carbonation that makes your stomach bubble.
My carbonation preferences aren't usually the thing that makes me want to pour it out of the can. Usually it's because it's not cold and the can doesn't stay cold. As opposed to like my
Oh yeah,
mug or
get it on
something
some ice.
Right.
where you
Yeah.
pour it on some ice and it will get colder, and
Right.
the ice will slowly melt and dilute it a little bit.
All right, my first. I'm going with straight Coke Zero to start.
Okay.
All right. The palate is cleansed of Oreo cookie. Here we go.
This is great radio.
Oh, it's fantastic. That's why
I
it
know.
doesn't even. What does it smell like? It smells like not Oreos. Anyway, whatever. Tastes like the cream filling a little bit. Tastes like a cream soda, but Coke flavored.
Well,
Mhm.
like now you have my attention. I love a cream soda.
Okay, well then I have to have another sip to give you more notes then, man. So 1,000%, it tastes like cream soda and Coke mixed together. There's not a lot of chocolate cookie flavor that I taste personally.
Yeah, I got I got the cookie on the the very back end of it. That was the first thing I noticed after the stevia taste. My wife, on the other hand, her first thought was exactly yours. Was, oh, I taste the cream.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Huh.
Well, I think in terms of success rate between these two things emulating each other, the Oreo gets the Coke a little easier. I think they should have flavored the other cookie probably. But if you're a fan of cream soda there, JJ, you might like this. I don't know.
I might have to go to the market this weekend.
It's definitely got that Coke Zero flavor though. So if you don't,
I drink
you
a
don't
Coke
like
Zero
that.
here and there. I am, if left to my own devices, I would probably typically drink Diet Coke. So I think I have drank a Coke Zero in my day and had no issues with it.
Well, with the cream flavor, it's a little closer to a Diet Coke to me than a Coke Zero is actually.
Now we're just bowling down my alley, man. I like this.
Yeah, I think you might like it. I know you like that Cali Cream and beer.
I do. That is a
Which,
beer I do
man.
enjoy.
This place near us has it on Nitro right now, and
The Nitro Cali Creamin' is
It's
always the best. Every
the right-
time I ever see it
right
on a menu,
choice.
I'm like, bam, that.
Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, I think you guys got the order right there, Michael. It's too bad you don't like Coke Zero because I think this is fine. It's a nice little refreshing version of Coke.
And I'm glad you tried it to said that, because I wanted to get your opinion, knowing that you are a Coke Zero drinker.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I mean, it's about as good for you as a Coke's gonna get, so it doesn't really matter. That end of it.
Right. I mean, it can't get less healthy.
Yeah, yeah. And I think overall, frankly, the Oreos might be a little better than normal Oreos. They definitely have a little more stuffing than a normal Oreo.
Yes, they are a little bit thicker.
And now that I've eaten 3 of them, one on the sly that I didn't tell you about, maybe the Pop Rocks are a good thing too. Just keep those in there.
Yeah, I like that part. It's a nice little addition, and it's not the first time they've done that. They've done that in a couple of their limited edition cookies before.
You know, I was actually expecting to dislike the Oreos more than the Coke. Not dislike, I guess, but to honor the Coke higher. And I might, because of my personal preferences, I don't want to eat a whole thing of Oreos. But in general, my opinion is that most Oreo specialty flavors are not my bag. This would be fine to have around more than a limited time.
All
Cool.
right.
There we go. All right. Should we go from happy surprises to bitter disappointments?
Run down that hill.
You already know what I want to talk about there, Michael. I'm sure you do.
I've got an idea.
It starts with an O, and it does not end in Rio. Octopath Traveler, Tavern Talk. Do we have more to say than the internet does?
I feel like I am not nearly as hopeless about it as the majority of the people who feel like they need to post. But I think at the end of the day, whether or not the game ends, they have mishandled this. I think the ill will that they have engendered is not going to go away, even if even if the hordes of torch and pitchfork people are proven wrong.
Yeah. It's a bummer.
I think there's a parallel I saw driven by one of the Doom posters on the internet that was like, there's a sequence of events that lines up very similar to this that happened to a different Square Enix gacha game, somewhat in the last, several months, where it also ended its service, right?
Yeah.
Now, are those things coincidences? Very possibly, right? But they see a pattern, and then the mind makes patterns out of things, whether they exist in actuality or not, right? And
or patterns exist and you recognize them, and whether or not they mean the same thing, it doesn't mean that the pattern isn't the same.
Yeah, it totally could be, right? And I think the lack of just an additional like, hey, we're working on it, hey, this is coming, hey, it's nothing to announce yet, but we're going to work on it, like it. Again, like, would it have been hard to say, like, from the social media accounts, like, the game's not ending, guys? Like, if you're absolutely definitely not ending it, right? Like,
it's weird that the social media managers didn't push back and tell the team, like, you really can't send us back out there a second time without telling them that you are doing something and that the game is not ending. Right? Like, it's not on them that there is no answer, but it is weird. I would hope, and I assume that those social media people went out. Yeah.
And just being ignored, right? Like, there's nothing you can do if the business people don't want to talk to you or whatever. But like, again, why not? If it's clear that it's continuing, right? And the business people are like, yeah, we're just, we're slow rolling it. We're just going to get it out there when we want to at the, December or when the heck ever, right? Like, then just be like, that's not happening. Stop saying that.
I wonder if we culturally don't see a lot of this being similar with their games in Japan, and so they just don't respond to this type of stuff. Or
maybe,
what?
But I mean, you'd think it's an international enough business at this point that they'd have some experience with a non-Japanese audience.
Yeah,
and there certainly is
that, but it's not what I hear a lot of the time from people that know Japanese producers.
And there is certainly some level of, hey, like, they have all the data. The people that are posting are a vocal minority, right? Like, guaranteed to be true, right? Like, how many people are even watching these Tavern talks or hearing about them? Like,
I don't know, but the Reddit community has gone from like hundreds of people to only like 10 or 15, and they're all the Doom posters. So whether or not a lot of the people aren't posting Doom stuff, the people that are left paying any attention are negative.
Right. My point is, like, that's a clear, obvious bad sign that the community manager or the, community president should be reacting to.
Yeah.
And again, if they're not being let to do that, or they aren't doing it, it's like, what's going on?
Yeah. Michael?
Yeah.
If you still have some of these Oreo Cokes, I think you should try it out of a glass. It tastes very different.
I had the second one out of the second one out of a glass. Yeah.
I think there's not a lot to say because they didn't say anything, but it's also not a lot to say because they didn't say anything. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy that like they're bringing out a lot of the characters that people would have been excited about if they had come out not under this cloud, and then also not really having anything else going on is very, very strange to me. It's definitely not I told Michael before they had this update that like I need something to look forward to. This, I guess there's new rabbits coming to the game. It's like, okay, well,
yeah, again, it's like
more
it's more keepers,
run around busy work. Yeah.
The new hunter cat is supposed to be pretty good, so there's that.
Yes, and got a bunch of buffs for the global version.
I mean, it's cool, but
yeah, like, if you're, and when we started this game, I think like the line was mostly like, I like the story. I want to see where the story goes. We haven't had like a serious story update in how long? Pretty long.
Well, there isn't going to be one until the next story starts, which is the thing that everyone's talking about.
Right. Well, so I'm saying, like, when chapter 8 ended and you got the prologue and the other half of the prologue, which again, that is like barely story content. There's been, effectively nothing for the back half of the year. It's weird.
Mm-hmm. Very strange. Don't want to be a pessimist, but
they're making it hard not to.
Well, I'm not sure. I was thinking, I paused there accidentally, how to put it, but it's like, even if you didn't intend to end the game, you might have ended the game. I think the sign that people are not really on the Reddit anymore. I don't know how the Discord's doing. Michael's more plugged into what the Discord looks like. But
it's still busy. It definitely kind of blew up with yesterday's non-news. But it's not as there are not as many active threads as there were at one point. There's a lot less content being created by the content creators in the community simply because there's no content for them to work with.
Well, if people aren't looking anymore, then it's like you're letting things go down the drain. You didn't have to speed things up. You just had to tell people what was happening, kind of,
Yeah. And I get if the people who make the content, people making YouTube videos, tutorials, that kind of stuff, they can't just do nothing for months and months on end. Like the EX refights are not interesting to watch, So I get why people drift away from the game, because if that's your job or you're trying to make it your job, you can't do this. That's not.
Well, yeah.
You have to do something else.
All the content people have gone to the other sword game where there's going to be tons and tons of things to do.
On Valaria.
You can't blame them, for that. They have a different motive than the people that make this game. But, if you're the people that are making this game, wouldn't you want at least some of those people to stick around for your game?
Yeah, drive engagement.
And not negative engagement, which is all they have now. It's just a death spiral at this point. I would assume. I'm not a sage or anything, but
I mean, it's hard to know, right? Because again, how representative are the people that are posting on Reddit of the total number of people that play this game, right? But the problem will be, eventually, some of those people are going to be like, I'm stuck on this boss. I need to look up what to do. Here's the characters I have. Who on here can help me? And then people are going to be like, end of service, game is over, dead game. Like, why are you even talking, right? And then they're going to get discouraged and probably stop playing, right?
Well, so the Discord has been nice about segregating those conversations. So if you want help, you can just go into the thread for help with team building, and that thread is quiet other than the people who are there to talk about building teams based on certain characters, right? There's a main conversation thread where people can just chat and drop their, flame post opinions.
Flame post opinions, yeah. I guess that's where we're at, right? That's not a positive place to be. Oh, well, we'll see. I still have a few things left to do in that game that could matter. And I'll probably pull that cat just in case it's the last thing,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm interested in the cat because I like hunters. I have a bunch of good ones, and making a hunter team would be rad if they would make content that was weak to hunters.
Well, and if they do keep it going, Bow does become the next meta. Well, not the next meta, but
you can skip the next meta and go straight to Bow.
If you so choose.
We can, because Kilns came out after some of the Bow units that became Bow meta once Kilns came out. So we literally could skip the next quote unquote meta and go straight to Bow.
Yeah, I mean, the next meta requires a bunch of 6-star skills and characters we don't have confirmed. So, who knows? But it would be cool if the Bow stuff became there. I like the idea of the Kates. I wished their characters were better so that I had a reason to get them. But I go for it. I got rubies sitting around. Pull for this a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We should probably get off of that bit of news and go to the Sony news before we get too down in the dumps. We can talk about how cool games like Ghost of Tsushima are getting a AAA is back, baby.
I didn't see it, so I don't know really. I saw like a couple of the announcements that were announced, but I didn't actually watch any of it. So
Yeah, I didn't get to
Sounds
watch.
like it just sounds like a lot of development now is getting refocused on like, well, what people want is not always to have to be online. That's kind of cool. On remakes, more remakes, you know.
Yeah, they're remastering that Soul Reaver Legacy of Kain 1 and 2. That's cool. Those were like
only real ones will remember.
PlayStation 2 and Dreamcast games, I think those were.
I think so.
I definitely played that first game. I don't know if I played the second one.
Yeah, they weren't ones that I knew.
I remember them. I don't know if I ever owned them, but you know, it'd be good. Okay. Well, if we don't have a ton,
they're remastering Lunar.
Yeah, the first and second.
That is a game. Don't know that I want to play those again, but that is a thing that is happening.
It's a thing. I think if maybe we weren't super taken with the Sony thing, then we should move on to hear more about Space Marine, JJ, because last week we didn't even hear how it had come to be that you were playing a hot new game.
Yeah. This is a whole interesting topic because I built a computer last weekend.
For a sale, man. Wait, what?
Say what?
Yeah, not for me.
We didn't do.
Oh, okay.
What?
So my wife has had a computer and has been playing games for many years. She plays like World of Warcraft and Diablo and Hearthstone and a bunch of other stuff. But with the most recent WoW expansion, has not been enjoying the performance of her computer for the last several months.
Okay.
So during the various sales, I had been looking.
Grabbed a 4090 before they went out of stock.
No, not quite. No,
you didn't hear about that. The 4090s are all going out.
Okay, they would stop producing that. That is of course Nvidia would do that, right? They would stop making the 4090 so that they can push the 5090 or whatever they're going to come out with in whenever.
Right. Like, yeah, sure. I mean, manufacturing stopping does not surprise me.
Yeah. So, during the various sales, Labor Day and before, I had been looking and collecting parts, and finally we got all the pieces together. And I built her a new computer. And
do we get to do a component class on everything you picked? Because
we can if you want.
This is huge news, man. I feel deceived.
Yeah, we can if you want. I don't think it's that exciting. We're not talking like a top end here. Again, she's not playing like Space Marine and
new is like always top end in my book.
Right, but World of Warcraft doesn't have the same kind of requirements as
Space Marine 2.
Space Marine 2 or like some of these like high frame rate kinds of games, right? So
hold on, I'm getting PC part picker open here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I was trying to build something that was like that would last a while, right? That's
what
the real
size did we go with? I don't know.
So she had a case already that she liked, and it was a mini ATX.
Yes, the best form factor. Good.
So I got a mid-range motherboard in that form factor.
Okay.
I ended up going with AM4 for price, not because I think that it's going to last longer, but that they're not that expensive right now, and you can get pretty good ones. So like a higher end AM4 motherboard versus a low end AM5, even if you have the ability to upgrade it in the future. Like, the last computer we built for her was like 5+ years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So are we
might
gonna
be-
upgrade it? Like
Right.
Yeah.
in 5+ years, it'll be AM6 or whatever, right?
Well, I don't know.
Potentially.
They stick with their sockets a long time, man.
Well, they did previously. There's nothing saying they will in the future. But also, like, am I going to want to use a 5+ year old motherboard and just swap the CPU out? Like, is that going to even be beneficial?
I don't know. This is a pretty good topic to discuss in general, because you could do. I mean, AM5 is probably still more expensive than AM4, but
It is.
you could do an AM5.
I can confirm that it is.
And get a low performance AM5 CPU that might match an AM4 CPU, and then really, really upgrade it in the 5-year mark with something that's going out of stock as AM6 is coming out.
Yeah, I mean, the prices are pretty linearly down, right? So the lowest AM5 is more expensive than the high-end AM4 stuff.
I can attest to that because I actually looked to see if I could upgrade my AM4 socket recently to one of those X3D chips. And those are still like don't make a ton of sense in terms of price. They're still up there in high end ish price ranges, and they're going to start to go out of stock soon. It's kind of like, the benefit of a 15% uplift on some stuff and a 5% downgrade on some stuff might not actually be worth all this money. So
yeah, I think
maybe that is the answer. Maybe you just go for whatever is most cost effective at the time. What are we becoming, JJ? All right, AM4 socket. I interrupted.
Yeah. So, that's where I settled on that. 32 megs of RAM, the standard kind of stuff, not doing anything fancy there.
DDR4, because that's as high as you can go.
That's what's on AM4. Yep.
32 is pretty good, though.
Yeah. Again, we want to make it like somewhat, usable for the long term here, right?
Yeah. Now, you don't really need more than 32. I mean, you used to not need more than like 8, but processing a lot of graphics these days, you need like 16 to 32.
16 is probably okay, but yeah, get 32 and then don't think about it again, right?
Yeah, don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And so the video card was the interesting choice, right? Because all the, like, if I was building this for myself, I would want an NVIDIA card, but all the NVIDIA ones are really expensive.
Yeah, baby.
So I got her an AMD.
You did it.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. AMD's dropping off most of their high-end cards. Did you hear about this?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
I don't know if you heard, Michael, but they're ending their high-end GPU game. They're going to go with mids and low-end cards. They just don't want to compete with NVIDIA anymore, I guess. I didn't hear why, but
I mean, it's because they lose every time and they don't have developer support. Oh, I'm hearing cheering. That must be some kind of good news for me. So
I think the Padres.
Is it the Padres? Padres, bottom of the ninth, 4-2.
Okay.
Nope, it's over. It just ended.
Ended. Oh, there you go. So Padres are off
Triple
on their
play.
Whoa,
a triple
crazy.
play.
Triple play to end the game. Dodgers plated a run and had men on first and second and ground into a triple play.
Wow.
Gonna have to look that one up.
That's gonna be
that will be
live
me after this podcast. Also, I'm being told, I'm being yelled at that we have now, the Padres have secured a postseason spot no matter what. With that,
because they will have
they're far enough
tiebreak
out,
spot,
and they're far enough out
everybody
in
else.
the wild card race
that no one can catch us. Yeah. So
not enough people can catch you.
Right. We can't be kicked out of the postseason. We could have the lowest seed, but we currently are in.
They call that clinching.
Okay. So
not clenching.
No, we don't want to clench. Okay, back computers. So I got a Radeon. Shoot, what was the number of the card?
What AM4 did you throw in there, by the way? What chip did you throw in there?
So hilariously, a 5800X, which is the same one I have.
Oh, really?
I wanted to get the X3Ds, just like you were saying, Andy. But
I
they're
wanted
like
an X3D.
they're like $100 more.
They are, yeah,
And
they're
it's like-
different. You definitely get more frames per second benefit from certain games. It's like noticeably more, but then other times maybe you just get less.
And so the $100, so it's like, well, for $100 more, I could also get the cheapest AM5s.
Mm.
And it's like,
Mm.
or I could do neither of those, get, the 5800X, which is the same one I have.
Mm-hmm.
And, if I pair it with this video card that I was going to buy, you get a bunch of free games.
That's cool. We
Again,
can't
this
all
was
have
like-
5900Xs,
This was, Andy laughs in having a 5900.
5900 and 64 gigs of RAM, but we're not counting.
So that's how I ended up with Space Marine. Yeah.
Oh, he took a hard turn on us there, Andy.
That was
Yeah.
That was yeah.
They give you a bunch of free games when you buy, like, there's all the video cards always have deals like this, right? So,
Yes, they do.
first off, if you are buying a video card, always get something with it. If they're not giving you something for free, wait, and then they will in like another couple months.
Yeah, well, this is about the time of year where they're going to start releasing the news about new cards, right?
Yeah.
So 5000 series cards are coming early next year.
I'm shrugging my shoulders. I don't know when it comes, but yeah, that stuff is going to start coming.
And then they'll be released sometime next year. I don't know. That's definitely a place not to overinvest for sure. And getting an AMD mid-range card's not a problem. Were you able to capitalize on your cannibalism? Did you rip out your power supply and a bunch of other stuff, or did you have to upgrade everything else?
So really, in order to support the new card and the new processor, we needed a new power supply. So there really was not much other than the case that went forward. I think
Drives?
we kept the cooling
drives.
fan and the drives. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
I wanted to get her a liquid like AIO, but actually,
yeah, baby.
Do it.
Come over to the dark side.
Andy, I couldn't fit it in the case.
Ah!
Straight up won't. Your preferred beloved M-ATX form factor does not fit an AIO.
Buddy, I don't know if you'll recall, but we had this exact same problem over here.
Yeah.
So,
despite the case measurements matching, did not fit my AIO. I had to go to a smaller one.
Yep. So I have actually a 240 AIO here that I bought for it because I did the measurements same as you and it didn't fit.
Yeah, they just don't quite fit. I don't understand how they say they fit, and then that radiator measurement or the case measurement are both off by just the tiniest bit, and they just can't slam them in there. And in my case, it was because the motherboard heat sinks overlapped the measurements.
So that wasn't my issue. My issue was straight up the inside of the case not being.
Yeah.
To be clear, this is like not the most high end case or anything like that either.
Well, but say they'll tell you it's compatible, but they don't give you like.
So this case is not expensive enough to tell me that kind of stuff.
I see. We've gone with the Lian Lee back of the truck special, huh?
The budget.
This is the one she likes. So hey,
and that's nothing wrong with that.
For a case, there is something to be said. There's a lot to be said for that, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as it gets enough airflow, and by enough, I mean more than a completely sealed container.
Well, let me tell you, those fans on the video card are sucking air somewhere, so it should be fine.
Yeah. Exactly. That's cool. And is it working well? Did you have?
Yeah, it seems to be. It seems to be working
all right.
Yeah, it booted fine. No real issues during the install. I had a couple of issues with, fitment of stuff and like placement of fans. I had to move a fan around. I had to disconnect the front panel because the fans had like this was one of the case fans, and this one is not like nice and modular. So like this fan was kind of not really meant to be moved. So I had to do a little finagling to make that happen. But we got there.
Zip
not
ties.
too bad. No, we got it in. It was not. The one thing I couldn't get in though is the video card came with, which I think was actually a nice thing of them, a support bracket.
Oh yeah, mine has one, or mine didn't have one, so I had to buy one.
It came in the box. It was like, hey, install this. Like, it'll help hold the video card and keep it from drooping or whatever. I was like, oh, cool. Okay, I'll install this. It's actually too close to the bottom of the case to fit the support bracket. The support bracket bends the card up now instead of holding it from dripping down.
Oh, weird. Huh.
So I was like, well, if it droops, it's just going to hit the bottom of the case. So I guess it's not really a problem.
Yeah. Huh.
So, but yeah, it works good. Temps seem fine,
Yeah. I mean, it's running World of Warcraft as expected.
Yeah, we're not
or as hoped, I guess.
We're not out here checking the the temps every day. But I've heard no complaints, and that means it's good. I will tell you the process for AMD's process for like claiming the free games is really annoying. I hate that.
Yeah.
I see why they do it, but it's like, hey, you have to like run.
You have to make an account. You gotta, yeah.
And then you have to run this like tool on the system that has this stuff, and then we give you the codes, right? It's like, but after that, they just give you codes, so you don't have to install it on that system or like that account or any of that stuff. It's just like we make you jump through all these hoops. Oh, also, like the drivers have to be updated, right? Which again, you want to do anyway, and like was already going to do, but you can't like do that in parallel while you're updating the drivers. If the drivers aren't up to date, the thing just fails.
Oh, that's lame. Yeah.
It's like, you can detect the CPU, dude. It's right there. Like, you're talking to it. I know you are.
You have to be.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's funny. Did you know PC Gamer gave, speaking of Space Marine, we can hard left back into Space Marine again. Did you know PC Gamer gave, I don't know if we have enough time to get into the game, but did you hear that they gave that game a 60?
Out of
6 out of 10? Yeah.
So I see why. I want to get into it a little bit. I see why, because I've played a bunch more of this game now, and we don't have a ton of time. But
no,
the mission design in this game is like some Xbox 360 level, like co-op mission structure stuff. It's like,
so the stuff we liked about playing co-op Halo.
Yeah, run into this room, fight some guys. Cool. Get in an elevator. run into this room, hold this point, fight some guys. Walk over there. Get in an elevator. Space Marines sure are taking elevators. And then it's like, okay, you accomplished the objective. Good job. Fade to black. Fade back up. You're on the spaceship, right? Like all the, it's very much a very like linear segmented game. And the objectives are not super interesting. Like there's multiple cases where you have to hold points, multiple cases where you have to, find your way around this group of corridors, find your way into these same-ish looking kind of environments. But like, I enjoy the bombast and the insanity of like Warhammer 40K stuff. And Andy, it won't surprise you, chaos is involved, right?
Yeah, they're there somewhere at all times.
Yeah. And so, it's interesting and fun. And I'm having a good time. But like, I totally get if you play the campaign and you're like not into 40K, I don't know that that's enough for this. Now, I will say the thing I have been liking way more than I thought I would is the PvE operations stuff.
Which is what I think PC Gamer called repetitive.
Definitely. But it is unlike the story missions, it is much more pure, like, combat.
Which is just what you're looking for in 40K universe, right? You just want to shoot some stuff.
And the combat in the game is fun. When I'm actually fighting, I'm having a good time. So, like, it's the best part. And, like, there's actual progression in the PvE mode, unlike the campaign. So, like, the campaign, you, like, unlock a couple of new guns and, like, melee weapons, but that's kind of it. In the PvE mode, you're, like, leveling up. You're getting weird little doodads and seals and crap to attach to your armor. You're getting higher level guns. Like, there's actual, like, stuff going on there. Now, you have to play a lot in order to get that to happen. But these missions are at least, like, tied into the campaign, which I also find cool. Right. So, pluses and minuses here. If you're into 40K, Andy, you should definitely play this game. You will have a good time.
I want to play it. It's not on sale yet.
Well, whenever you do get it on sale, call in your battle brother here, because I will come. I will answer the Emperor's call with you.
I might just eventually pull the trigger. We'll see. I don't have time right now. I do not have time, so I have to hold off for a minute.
Yeah, and that's fine. Again, I'm just saying that like I am really enjoying it for the 40K-ness of it all.
I'm very jealous. A lot of people really, really liked the Vermintide, which sounds like this game is similar to from Warhammer, but Warhammer is too much of a fantasy thing for a lot of people versus Big Gun Go Boom gets a lot more of the Xbox 360 crowd, like you were saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this game does have crossplay. I've played with people on consoles. I can tell because they have little symbols up in the top that are like Xbox or PlayStation or box for PC.
Yeah.
Nice. So, yeah.
The minimum, the recommended requirement is a 5800X. Wow.
Ooh.
The game, if you turn all the settings up, dude, this thing will burninate your PC.
3070 recommended. Holy cow.
Yeah. It has a lot of cool, and it looks like, this is the best part, is the game looks so good. Like, murdering Xenos has never felt and looked so good. As you're like stomping through guts, like blood is getting on your shoes and your cape is like getting wetter and wetter as more blood and stuff fills it up. And it's just, it has some really cool stuff. Again, you have to be into wanting to see this, but it looks really good.
Sure. I'm into wanting to see it. And if people are, they should email us. Michael, where?
They could send that to podcast@weweregamers.com.
Tell us what you thought of those Oreos or Cokes or Oreo Cokes or Coke Oreos. Cocoreo, those Oreo Cokes.
Yeah, I might have to go try those this weekend.
Yeah, you should.
I think you might like it, dude.
The Oreos are good.
The Oreos, I wouldn't buy on the regular, but if I were given a package of Oreos, I would choose this over a normal Oreo. The Coke could stick around. I wouldn't mind having that vanilla cream flavor in a Coke, is all I'm saying.
Oh, I didn't even mention, Andy. You say talk about sticking around. Did you hear the news that after 6 months of introducing their new permanent flavor, Coke is pulling that new Coke Spiced because of poor sales?
It's terrible. I did not like it.
It was bad. It was bad.
Michael, I know you kind of liked it a little, and I apologize for.
Oh, I'm not. It's not my product to put on sale and have tank.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It smelled terrible. Don't know how that one got out the door, but they nailed it with this one. So youtube.com/@weweregamers. Yeah, that's the one.